In the small coastal town of Windermere, where the sea whispered secrets to the shore and the sky melted into hues of lavender and rose at dusk, lived a young boy named Samuel. At 16, his world revolved around summer afternoons spent at the beach with friends, riding his bike along sandy paths and dreaming of distant adventures. Yet, his most vivid fantasies took shape within the pages of the novels he devoured, tales of love and longing that painted his imagination in vivid colors. One day, while wandering through the local bookstore, he stumbled upon an old, weathered section filled with dusty volumes. As he browsed, a gentle voice behind him pulled him from his reverie. "That one's a classic," it said. He turned to find a woman in her early 30s, her hair cascading in soft waves, a pair of glasses perched on her nose. She radiated an air of wisdom, the kind that spoke of experiences and emotions far beyond what Samuel knew. "Really? You think so?" he asked, holding up a copy of Pride and Prejudice. "It changed my life when I first read it," she replied with a wistful smile that held layers of untold stories. The woman introduced herself as Clara, a local writer who had returned to Windermere after years of living in the city. They struck up a conversation, and Samuel learned that Clara was still finding her voice after a series of rejections. Her passion for storytelling resonated with him, igniting excitement in his heart. Their discussions turned into shared coffee dates, and evenings spent talking about literature, music, and dreams. As the days turned into weeks, Samuel found himself captivated by her intellect and warmth. Clara, in turn, saw in him a youthful spirit that inspired her. They would explore the rocky shore, collecting shells and wandering through the whispers of the ocean breeze. Samuel often wondered, in the back of his mind, how someone so seasoned by life could find interest in him. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, they sat together on a weathered bench overlooking the water. The golden hues painted Clara's face, and in that moment, Samuel felt a surge of emotions he could hardly contain. With a quiet breath, he confessed, "I've never felt like this before. You make me feel alive." Clara's gaze met his, a mixture of surprise and tenderness in her eyes. "Samuel, I care for you deeply, but there's a world of difference in our ages." "I know," he interrupted, his voice steadier than he felt, "but it doesn't matter to me. I see you, Clara, the real you." Yet, fear lingered in her heart, a shadow of the societal expectations and judgments that loomed over their connection. They had a bond that inspired him to dream and created in her a spark of creativity. But how could she embrace it knowing the world would not understand? Days turned into an unspoken distance between them, like the ebb and flow of the tide, the laughter replaced by a silence that felt heavy. Samuel's heart ached, longing to bridge the gap that fear had created. Weeks later, on a quiet night during the annual Windermere Lantern Festival, he saw Clara again. The air was filled with enchantment as glowing lanterns floated into the starlit sky. Heart-pounding, he approached her, determination sparking in his chest. "Clara, please," he beckoned. "Let's stop pretending that what we have isn't real." With lanterns drifting above them, Clara's breath caught. "And what is it we have?" He stepped closer, vulnerability etched in his expression. "We have a connection unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's not about age, it's about what we share." Clara searched his eyes, wrestling with her emotions. She could see the sincerity shining through. With a soft exhale, she replied, "You're wise beyond your years, Samuel, but love isn't always enough to erase the world's expectations." In that moment, Samuel reached for her hand. Maybe we can create our own world, one where age doesn't define us. As the lanterns illuminated their faces, Clara felt a flicker of hope race through her veins. In the quiet contrast of their worlds, perhaps, they could meet in the middle. The fear that once held her captive began to fade. Their relationship blossomed in the tender shadows of evening walks and spontaneous adventures. They became each other's muse, Samuel penning poetry about love that knew no bounds, while Clara's writing flourished as she crafted stories fueled by their passion. The town of Windermere buzzed with whispers, but slowly they began to find acceptance in each other's arms. They learned that love, in its purest form, could blossom anywhere, age be damned. And so, as summer surrendered to autumn, the boy and the woman, who dared to love against the odds, continued to weave their stories together, hand in hand, illuminating a path that had once seemed impossible. Together, they discovered that love is not defined by years, but by the depth of connection and the beauty of the journey they dared.